right, and welcome to the Real Estate 360 show. My name is Jason Miles.
And I am Steve Connolly.
Welcome, Steve. It's good to see you again today.
Welcome, yeah.
And thank you all for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for those that are watching. Listen, we get a lot of questions about, especially from the new investors, about, valuation, because valuation isn't just valuing what the property could be worth. Part of evaluating the property for what it is now and putting in effective offers, the biggest thing that I found is understanding what the cost to renovate this property is.
Right. And there are four questions that these investors typically ask us, and that's, where do you find the properties? How do you get the money to buy them? How do you determine what it's going to cost to fix these? And number four is, who, what, where, when, how do I sell these things once I've done it?
Yeah.
And from a wholesaler point of view, you need to know all of that if you're going to be an effective wholesaler, right?
Absolutely. Because as we discuss all the time, there's a lot of people out here that want to tell you they're real estate investors, but really they're just traders.
Right.
They're not investing in anything. They're trading this paper for a little bit more money.
They're doing arbitrage or trying to do arbitrage.
Exactly. And they don't know what they're doing. And they have these conversations. I see it all the time. I know you see it all the time. You buy this house for $150,000. There's $40,000 in renovation. It's worth $350,000.
Yeah.
And you get there and you see it's $140,000 in renovation.
Right.
And you're like, what is this guy thinking about? But they have no idea. And like you said, you can't be an effective business person without knowing what to do. You got to know your numbers. You got to know the numbers inside the numbers.
And you said the word you. You have to know the numbers. I had a property for sale through a realtor. He was just, kind of tagging along. He said, listen, I want to sell your stuff. I said, great. So I listed it with him, and there's this buyer that showed up, and it was a newbie buyer, because the newbie buyer was trying to rely on contractors to give her bids on what it would cost to fix this property.
Mm-hmm.
So the first bid, and I said, listen, it's going to cost, $35,000. This was a fluff and buff.
Right,
okay?
right.
Brick, single family, ranch, not that much to do. So her first bid, contractor bid, comes in pretty close to that. And then she got another one that was like $60,000, and then she got another one that was $120,000. I mean, what? That's a pretty big spread, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. The gold toilets came with that last package.
No, I'm in a 747. But do you think she did anything?
She probably walked away.
She did. She didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
She was totally confused. So the word is you. You have to understand what these renovation costs are.
That's right. And depending on where you're listening or watching from, the costs are going to differ from state to state, from region to region. What it cost us to buy something here in Atlanta isn't what it's going to cost to buy it in, let's say, San Diego, for instance.
Right.
And I give you a perfect example. For us to do a really nice kitchen here with a tier 1 granite, nothing super extravagant, but a tier 1 granite, we can redo a sizable kitchen from front to back, from beginning to end,
right,
for somewhere around $10,000.
Including appliances?
Not appliances.
Oh, okay.
Not appliances. Just soft close cabinets, modern, granite countertop sink, maybe a farm sink. We're somewhere right around $10,000, $11,000, depending on the size of the kitchen.
Right.
Now, if we're in San Diego, that exact same material, it's going to cost you about $25,000, maybe $30,000 to do that kitchen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Labor's more, materials cost more,
taxes are more.
For some reason, the granite costs more. I don't know.
Motion picture studio fee,
Exactly.
I don't know what they have out there.
But it's absolutely on a whole nother level in some areas. So you have to take that into account as we're going through this. So how do you mitigate that kind of thing? Well, you simply go, if you're just looking for material costs to start out, that's easy. You go to HomeDepot.com, Lowe's.com, and you get an idea of what it costs for a door, what it costs for a sink, what it costs for a bathtub, a toilet. And now you know what those are. And you can simply ask contractors, because by this point you've been building your success team.
Can I talk about contractors for a
Oh,
minute?
please do, because we can go on and on about contractors.
So listen, contractors are great, but there are different categories of contractors, and maybe most people don't understand that there are different categories of contractors. So if you open up, I wasn't going to say the yellow pages, but
Stop dating yourself.
no, okay, right. So if you open up something that was like the yellow pages, like retail contractors in your area, they send you the flyers. They you get your Val packs, and they say, oh, we'll do all your windows, you'll rebuild your decks and all that, and it goes to the Sandy Springses and the Alpharettas and the Mariettas and all that. Well, so those are retail contractor guys.
So there's another great tool that people utilize to find these great contractors that, I think a lot of people that you're missing right now.
Okay.
It's called Google.
Oh, Google.
Yeah, Google.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So you just search it?
It's replaced the yellow pages.
Okay.
FYI.
Right. Anyway, so stop picking on me. So anyway, the point was we're not here to promote Google, but we are here to educate people on that there are different contractors out there.
Yes.
There's retail contractors, that will replace your gutters with gutter guard and all that and charge you $899 a foot. Or there's a different contractor, the contractor that are the real estate investor friendly contractor that understands, hey, we're trying to get in and we're getting out of these properties, and we're not going to bug the heck out of the contractor with multiple changes and indecision on the light fixtures and the granite color, and we're not going to drive them totally nuts. But we want the best price, and we want to get them in and out.
That's for sure.
At the best price.
So how do you find them?
I don't know.
How do you look for them?
I just know them,
Yeah. Well, now, there's definitely a referral base that goes on. But one of the things that I did when I was looking for contractors that were investor friendly, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to find them on Google.
Right.
Shameless plug. But I just drove around the neighborhoods that were not the high-end neighborhoods, because generally you're going to get, if you're in $1 million neighborhood and the house is being renovated, they're going to be the top dollar guys, right? So I drove around neighborhoods that were in the middle, in the $200,000 to $300,000 price range, where we knew that people were buying these houses for $80,000, $90,000, and they were probably spending $100,000 on the reno to get that, or somewhere in that neighborhood. And I just drove those neighborhoods, and I looked for projects that were under construction, and I would go in there and meet the contractors,
right,
and I could look at the work they were doing firsthand,
exactly,
to see if we need to have another conversation, and I did that for a couple months. That's how I found a lot of the folks that I've worked with over the years.
There's another way.
Well, pray tell.
Actually, I do know of one way.
Tell.
I do know of one way. You can go to real estate investor associations and meet contractors there, because they're over there trying to drum up some business for themselves.
Absolutely.
I used to run one of those.
You did a good one, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I miss it.
Yeah, me too. No, not really, because I had to run it and promote it, and it's a whole nother business. But one of the guys that I met from that is a contractor. Yeah. And so we've done quite a few deals together.
Yeah,
he's come in and done different things, and we're going to have him on as a guest in a little bit on the show.
Absolutely.
So I'm telling you this now so you can come up with some questions for him. So
I've got a ton of them,
because we want to surprise him as much as we possibly can. Because he said, the first thing he said when he walked in, he said, "Well, listen, don't surprise me."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen. No, not at all. I think that it's important, again, that the information that's being shared with you about this particular aspect of real estate investing is so vital for people to understand, because it's the one thing that comes up all the time, even after negotiating. People will get that, but they're so nervous when they walk into a house and they can see that there's a roof that needs to be replaced because it's torn up. But what if it doesn't look torn up? Yeah. What if it's, just it looks, maybe it's a little discolored, and they don't know enough. They're new, and they go and they see a stain in the ceiling, or several stains in the ceiling, or damage around the windows. They don't know that could be coming from the roof. They don't know anything, you know.
Roofs. I'm glad you mentioned roofs because I just ignored roofs for the first couple of years, man. I just didn't want to deal with. I didn't understand them. I didn't want to deal with them, and that's just the way it was. And sometimes I bought houses that really needed a new roof.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And but now that's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because I know there's other people that were like me when didn't want to deal with a roof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And mine was foundations. I didn't want to get down there and look at it at all.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
I just made the assumption that it was in good shape.
And neither one are that big of a deal. Now that we know,
Yeah.
I mean, it took a while.
Absolutely.
It's a
I
process.
just think that, having Scott with us today is
Yeah.
going to be, I think, a great bonus for a lot of the people that are listening today or watching us a little bit later on.
During our seminars, we have tools that can help people with the renovation costs, don't we?
Absolutely.
Like
We'll
the
definitely
wholesale
talk about
mastermind coming up in August.
That's right. The Wholesale Mastery. In
Mastery.
August 17th.
August 17th.
August 17th. So
Yes,
we've got
sir.
that Wholesale Mastermind where we kind of go through some of these things. And we've had contractors help us specifically with the cost of labor when we're talking about the pricing.
Yes.
Going through these things. But they're tools that you can utilize, but you have to know that there's a difference from region to region, and we can, of course,
And
help
from
you with that.
contractors.
Oh, 100%. But listen, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Scott Bowen with us.
Let's do that.
All right.
5-star service.
I'm loving it.
We'll buy your house. Click 833willbuy.com. That's 833WELLBUY.com.
Or call 833-WILL-BUY.
Se habla español. Llámanos. Call us today.
And welcome back from the break. We are now going to continue our conversation about this so vital aspect of real estate investing, which is understanding your numbers as it relates to the renovation cost. And Steve,
Yes.
you were speaking a little bit about Scott before.
I
before we ended.
was. I was speaking about different types of contractors, and that there are contractors that are retail contractors that are going to sell, gutters and deck work and basement redos, and then there's investor-oriented contractors, like the one that I met. I don't know, 19 years ago or
About
something
that,
like
yeah.
that.
About that.
And what's your name?
Scott Bowen.
And what do you do, Scott?
Well, I've been a renovator for a long time, and we do everything from turnkeys, getting the house ready, to full-on renos.
Stay close to the mic.
Okay. And so we stay pretty busy.
Yeah, I know you do.
There's a lot going on in the Atlanta area.
Absolutely. So now you would consider yourself an investor-oriented or friendly contractor. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a big difference between, like what you were saying, the the phone book contractor and the folks that are out there in the trenches that really get it.
Yeah.
Folks that are walking the houses with the buyers, whether they're experienced or newbies, because a lot of times they all need a little bit of they need you to impart some knowledge so they can really get an idea of what they have, if they have something that's not too heavy or if they've got a tiger by the tail.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to bring that up because I think that's a great thing. When you're walking through these properties with the new people,
Mm-hmm.
having done this a few times, we can't see everything that's going on with the house. I mean, there may be a band that's rotted away that we can't see right away until we get to it. There might be something behind the wall that we can't see until we take that sheetrock out. One of the biggest problems that I've had to deal with as it relates to new investors in particular is the constant increase in cost because of these cost overruns that occur because of things that you couldn't see that were kind of impossible to see. And they, I think that a lot of them, new investors that is, believe that, these are things that you should have seen before. What's your take on that?
Well, that's a utopian situation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work that way. You're exactly right in what you're saying as far as, you take a look at you're the doctor, you take a look at the patient, you see the patient. What you don't see is the X-ray or the MRI, the things that show the inner workings of the house.
Yeah.
And from the street, you only see what you see. So once you get out, take your time, really walk through, and you're looking at these issues. A simple example might be that the roof looks like it's having an issue. Well, it may be a roof issue, but it could also be a foundation problem that's manifesting itself at the roof, and that's just where you see it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going through taking a look at these things, you need to like I'll give someone an approximate figure. Nothing's right down to the dollar, okay? And I'll say, here's what we're looking at. Here's a rough guesstimation of what we're seeing, and of course that would also involve I would be very clear saying there could be things behind the walls or things that we don't see yet, and they would need to put a figure in there with their repair estimate so that they can kind of be prepared for that.
Yeah, because it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We've had different situations come up. We had one issue come up once with a water line.
Sure.
The main water line.
Just once?
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. Or how about the time on that house in Oakland City where there was no water meter?
Oh yeah, right. Every house in Oakland City, there's well, not every.
Yeah, but I mean, when do you think, honestly, and it's not even that you missed it. It's that you don't think that you'd have to look to see if there's a water meter because every house is supposed to have a water meter, right?
That's right.
Actually, we actually found that meter.
But it was at the neighbor's house.
I know. I was like, but that wasn't our meter.
Yeah.
That was their. It was over on the other side.
Oh.
It took us a month, and the city couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're here to talk about Scott, though.
Well, but on that point, creative
on that point,
creative things happen
Yeah.
in the neighborhoods, and they happen from the folks that are right around there. So
Creative things. What do you
creative
mean?
thing. Well, when you're looking at the house itself, you're looking at the house, the bones, the yard, and the neighborhood too, because you know what they say, when you marry the husband or the wife, you marry the family.
Yeah.
When you buy the house, you buy the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So something to pay attention to.
That's good.
Especially on things like how your house is positioned. Maybe what if you're sitting in a house that is below street grade and the two properties to your left or right are all higher than you? Where's all that water going to go? Things like that you may not be thinking, that the new person might not be thinking about, where you guys have, seen it happen a lot.
Yeah.
So,
And when we're doing our walkthroughs, and I tell people on 100% of the time, look, I'm not a contractor, but I've been doing this for a while, so I know to look for certain things. As we spoke in the last segment, I'm not crawling underneath houses.
Right.
Right. So I'm just not going to do it.
what are you looking at me for? Oh, man.
You won't fit under a lot of houses.
I'm not even going to try. I'm telling you, there's all kind of stuff under there. I don't want to play around with it, right? And there might not be, but the thought that there could be is enough to keep me outside.
Yeah.
Right. So I have my level of looking under there is just kneeling with a light. I don't see much. And then I go upstairs and I bounce on the floor a little bit.
Okay.
Obviously, that is not the best way to determine if there are any significant issues with the floor or the foundation, right?
Now I see how you got away with that. Foundation must be good. Yeah, that's it. I get it.
But, when you're doing a thorough inspection, like when someone like us calls you out, an investor says, hey, I really want to buy this house, but I need to know what's going on with it. I can see this, but I can't see that. Can you tell me what I can't see? Knowing that you're not going to be able to see things 100%.
Yeah.
But are you, or your company, you personally, for that matter, you're going to throw on your hazmat suit and get under there and check it out?
You have to. The only way to see it is to see it.
Yeah.
So I look like a stormtrooper half the time, and I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so I can get in most of those places.
Yeah.
I don't love it. It's not my favorite part of the job. But, if I go down there and I take some pictures, I see what we're really looking at, it makes it so much easier to come out and explain to you, why that floor is bouncing, or what's going on, because there's a lot that you just can't see unless you get down there.
Absolutely.
So you just do it.
Now, obviously, we've worked with you. We've done some things for you in the past. One of the most interesting things that I have seen you do is the I don't know how you water treatment when you have a basement or even a partial basement, and when it rains, there's water that comes in.
Sure.
Because I know, having done this before, that can be $8,000, $7,000. Again, Googling those guys.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Googling those guys, because I've done it, because I didn't know what to do.
Sure.
I had no idea what to do. And you came by one of the properties and you'd given us some really good advice on cost-effective ways to end the problem. You know, and I think your experience level, because of what you've seen, because of what you've done, and the time that you had in this industry, could be a great benefit to anyone that needs someone to truly look at a house. Because it takes what? You know, how long does it generally take?
It takes a while, especially depending on, well, it's not just the size of the property, it's also the general condition. You know, if you're looking at something that has, you know, a few issues, you're relatively quick. But if you get something that's problematic, which is kind of where you guys make your money, you know, if you're buying a house, you're buying it problems and all, warts and all, as they say.
Yeah.
So
as is,
right. And the more things are to look at, the more that I have to put it together for you.
Yeah.
You know, so we're really a team when we're doing this sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because we have to be. If we're not on the same page, my financing can be affected.
A lot.
You know, I may not. Maybe this was a bad deal, and it's, you know, $30,000 more than we expected to spend on the renovation. Realistically,
Good to know going in.
Absolutely, because you can walk away
That's right.
before, and it's worth whatever it costs. You know, you to come out there and give a thorough examination, than for me to buy a deal that I'm going to have to come out of pocket 10, 20, 30 grand.
Well, it's really important that you're able to test your systems. You know, and when I say systems, that's a generic term, but like your roofing system, your plumbing system, your HVAC system, in addition to, you know, what won't blow your deal is is the trim on the house.
Right.
You know, the light bulbs aren't working. That's not your money. Your real money comes into, you know, the whole picture. So that's really what I try to do. First time out, give everybody a rough estimate of what we're looking at. And then, of course, like you said, you know, there may be a little that's sight unseen.
Right, right.
And then Scott just said he's a team member. And most of the contractors are not on your team. They are the president and CEO of their company, period, end of story.
Yeah.
And really, you want somebody, you know, we talk about building our team. And so you got to have a contractor that understands that in order to have a good relationship so that everybody comes out winning.
That's right. Because no matter what, if you're working with people, you're on the same team. Your lender's on your team, your attorney's on your team, your contractor's on your team.
Yeah.
And you have to really learn how to work with one another and communicate with one another. And that starts with having effective people on your team. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. It's also important, like, we're working with what's called the trades, right? So when we're out there, we're working with the other trades too to kind of make sure that everything works. Because if you guys win, we win. We get called back, and that's how we do it.
So let me ask you, how can the listeners and people that are watching this, how can they contact you? How do they find you?
My name's Scott Bowen. The number's 404-392-0559. And my email is Scott, SCOTT, _New Horizons @yahoo.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Not
how you
Google.
had to think
Sorry,
about it.
that is. You know, all that talk about Google, yeah.
That's right. Well, listen, Scott, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you so much
you.
for being here. I appreciate you taking the
Thank
time
you,
to
Thank
come
you, guys.
and share your information with us. We're headed to a break right now.
Okay.
And again, man, really, thanks for sharing with us today. I appreciate you coming by.
My pleasure. I enjoy you, gentlemen. Thanks so much.
Do you need to sell your house? Well, our company will buy your house. We make the process very fast, very easy, and it's all cash. All you have to do is give us a call today.
We'll buy your house. Click 833willbuy.com. That's 833-WELLBUY.com.
Or call 833-WILL-BUY.
Se habla español, llámanos, call us today.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We were just sitting here over the break talking about specifically water issues and being thankful for what?
For water issues, and more specifically Scott Bowen, because now if I see a water issue, I'm not gonna go call the foundation people
Yeah.
and go get one of these drains. And honestly, the first time I saw it and understood what they actually did, they put this drain inside your basement, and they cut a strip so that water collects there, and then they pump it out with a sump pump. That made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I don't want water in my basement, period.
Yeah.
Whether it's getting into this channel and then get pumped out, because, hey, things can go wrong. The power might be off, and it's raining, lightning strikes. The sump pump's not going to come on
That's right.
because the power's off.
Yeah, so how do we just keep it out, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now I really look for water issues. If I see a water issue or a foundation issue, I love foundation issues.
But Scott gave you those solutions. That's why now you know how to kind of mitigate it when you're walking.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. So I had this house, and, it rained and water would come in the basement. And so I learned from Scott. I already knew some stuff, and I said, hey, Scott, what else do we need to do here? So he showed me how to solve the problem without digging up the hole all the way down, to the foundation, because this was a basement, so the dirt was covering up that whole basement level.
Yeah.
So the only way to get, really get there is to dig it out with a backhoe. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But so how do you solve those problems? Well, I know how, and it's because of Scott. He showed me how to solve that problem, and then he said, okay, once you get that done on the outside, you go down into the basement and you do these things. And, a typical foundation operation is going to charge $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
I paid $6,000 the first time.
Okay, I paid $2,500
Yeah.
for mine the first time. I hired a labor guy to help me on the outside, and then I went and bought this special sealer paint. This guy said you can only get it at one place in Atlanta, and it has to be this one. And I said okay. And so the total cost of that thing was $200 to fix that.
Wow.
And now no water comes in that basement in that house.
I mean, I know the value of working with Scott and people like Scott, excuse me, because they give you so much information that it doesn't negate the need for them to be there,
Right.
but it does help you evaluate in a much, much more significant way. Things that you may have just overlooked or assumed were going to cost a lot of money. They give you that information. He gave us that information so that we could really determine what we needed to do and then bring him in when we needed to. So, I mean, yeah, Scott's pretty good. I mean, he's better than pretty good.
I love Scott because, he comes in, and, I've been doing this for a few decades. Okay. So I've been doing it for a few decades, and I walk through a house, and I'm kind of a big picture guy. I'm going to look at, okay, it needs a roof, it needs a kitchen, it needs a bathroom, da-da-da. Add all that up, usually in my head or, on my fingers. And, I'm pretty good with math.
Just a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's simple math. Anybody can do it. But I realized really early on in my career that I carried this little calculator in my pocket.
Yeah.
Because I was doing all the formulas and all the numbers, and I said, okay, the house is going to be this, it's going to be the ARV's that, and it's going to be this. And I got my calculator out, and I did the math, and I subtracted the cost, and I looked at it, and one day I said, if I have to do this with a calculator, the numbers are too tight.
Yeah.
This is no deal. And these are pretty simple formulas. I can do this in my head. But I digress a little bit from where I was going with that. So I like to get Scott out to a property because, yes, I'm a big picture guy, but Scott will go look and say, well, did you see that eave over there that's crooked and it's kind of rotted? Where's the water coming from? I don't know. I didn't even see that, Or he'll see something in the basement that takes us on a whole nother level. And so sometimes they're little minor things, but sometimes they're big issues that I've overlooked because being a big picture guy, I'm going to say, okay, let's come up with these numbers and slap another 5,000 or 10,000 on it to cover the things that I didn't see. That's right.
But there is, sometimes you got to do that. That's called your contingency, right?
That's right.
And that's going to generally be 10% of whatever you determine your budget to be. But one of the things that we've created is the ability for the person that is less than a novice to walk into a house and determine what it's going to cost, within reason, what it's going to cost to renovate that house. And they don't have to know anything other than the square footage.
I know what you're talking about, and you don't have to be less than a novice because I use that constantly.
Yeah.
Tell 'em
So do
what
I.
Tell everybody what it is.
So there's a form that we created, and it's really simple. It's an Excel spreadsheet form. We update it every so often to reflect the cost for labor and materials to do a renovation. And if you've got a tablet, or even if you don't have a tablet, and you just have to print them out and walk it and write down the information as you walk the property, and then come back home and just plug in those numbers it just calculates everything for you. Like, I can tell you that it's going to cost approximately $3.50 50 cents per square foot of that house to replace your roof, roughly. Now, can it cost more? Yes. Can it cost less? Yes. But this is just giving you an idea of what that is.
It's a good estimating tool.
Exactly.
So what do they need to know? What do people need to know?
Simply just the square footage. If the house is 1,462 square feet, and you're looking at the roof and you're like, yeah, the roof, I can tell the roof is bad, then you just put 1,462 square feet in that quantity column, and it gives you a valuation of what it's going to cost for that roof. So it's square footage based, right? So that's all you need to know. And for gutters, for instance, people are, it's 95 cents per square foot. So it's the same 1,462 square feet.
Oh, that sounds great. You don't have to get out there and measure the length of the gutter.
Yeah, it's not linear.
Okay.
It's calculated in a fashion that really helps people who don't know what the cost of these things are, and who don't know, what is it going to cost me for, granite countertops, and there's, 42 linear feet there, because the way that's calculated is, the linear footage. Yes, it's square footage, but it's also the 24 inches there. So you've got to double whatever that is, but you don't have to do that.
Right.
It's just $185 per linear square foot, or per linear foot.
Right.
And that is it. Then that's labor, that's materials, that's glue, that's
sink.
Cutting. Now, not the
kitchen
sink,
sink.
not the kitchen sink.
You
That
don't get
actually
this?
comes in with the cabinetry.
This doesn't come with the kitchen sink.
It doesn't come with the kitchen sink. It's definitely
Doggone it.
separate. It's definitely separate. But, those are the things that people have to know. And, hey, listen, you can just reach out to us if you want to get a copy of that. We don't mind sharing that right now. We give them away at the event for people that come to the event.
What event?
That event, the Wholesale Mastery Course.
Okay.
It's a 2-hour, that 2-hour event that we like to talk about.
Yeah.
That's going to be on August 17th. It's a Saturday.
From 10 to 12.
Well, I tell people 9:30 because I want them to come and have some of that continental breakfast.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want them to come and eat the fruit and donuts and
And that's
coffee
the
and juice.
$5,000 seminar.
That's the $20 seminar.
We got to.
And you know what? It's not even a seminar,
We
Steve.
can't do that. We just can't do that anymore.
It's not even a seminar. Listen, seminars are places that you go and you're sold stuff. As I like to call it, you see that free seminar that you see on television, and then you go. I call it the free $2,000 seminar because it's another $2,000 to get your, your 3-day event. And then you go to the 3-day event, and they're giving you great information, but it's so much information that you cannot possibly absorb it. And then they're pitching you at another event after that. Well, you're here now. Now you need to have the mentoring, or you need to have the special sauce service, whatever it is that they have, because, there's no secrets to this, really. There's just no secrets. There's just processes. And if you learn the processes and follow the processes, implement the processes, take action, you'll find success. It's as simple as that. There is no secret. There is no special button to be pressed that's going to tell somebody how to wholesale a property better than the next guy.
What's the fastest way for people to learn real estate investing? Is it to watch YouTube videos? Is it to go to these seminars?
It's simply to take action.
Read? Take action. What do you mean take
You got to get out there and do it. Listen, people suffer from paralysis
No,
of
but don't
analysis
you
or
need to
analysis
know-
paralysis, right?
But don't you need to know every word in the contract?
If you
Before
want
you
to know every word in the contract, you should have went to law school.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. And if you want to be a lawyer, that's what you do. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't understand your contracts,
Right.
but your business isn't law. You hire lawyers. You need them anyway,
That's right.
right? Your business is to be a real estate investor.
So you're saying just go do it.
Just go do it.
Yeah, but
Take action.
what if you mess up?
You just mess up. And again, as we said before, pain is the absolute best teacher you're ever going to have. And if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing it right. Bottom line.
Right.
That's just the bottom line.
You're not doing anything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that too.
Okay. If you're not making
That too.
mistakes, then you're
That's
not
right.
doing it. Although sometimes you might consider not doing anything, making a mistake.
That's right. I said this to you before. I've done business with people who don't want to do business on a high level with people that haven't lost and,
Right.
and made it back.
Exactly.
They don't want to do business with people on a high level that
Unless they've
haven't felt the
already
pain.
gone through
Pain.
a major financial disaster.
Absolutely.
All
Pain,
right.
and then made their way back. Because now you understand the importance of what it is you have in front of you. It doesn't guarantee success.
Mm-mm.
But what it does do is it guarantees you that whoever it is you're working with has a certain kind of mindset at that point.
Gives you a whole new perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because pain is painful.
It's a good educator.
It is quite a good educator.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And there's
I love
only
it.
one reason we do things, and that's so we feel better.
Yeah, no one
and
wants
if
to feel
we're
the pain.
feeling pain, then that's one of the things we probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, we got to move our way through it.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling it, you got to do something a little different. So don't spend a bunch of time wallowing in your own misery. Get out of it, do something. We got to take a break now. Let's do that so we can hurry up and get back and deliver some more great information.
We'll buy your house. Click 833willbuy.com. That's 833WELLBUY.com.
Or call 833-WILL-BUY.
Se habla español, llámanos, call us today.
Hello, welcome back to Real Estate 360, where we take you from the show to the pro, and of course we're talking about real estate pro, and of course next to me here is Jason O. Miles.
Hello, and thank you for listening. Hello.
Yes, Jason O. Miles. Would you mind telling us more about team building and how important that is?
Listen, one of the most important things is your relationships. If you cannot maintain your relationships and develop those relationships, you're going to be that island that no one wants to be. Nobody wants to be the only person that can pay for dinner.
Mhm.
Nobody wants, because it's a lonely place to be, and it's a place where, you just don't want to be. It's just an ugly place to be, and the only way not to be there is to develop these relationships. Now, as it relates to real estate, on any level, whether it's single family or multifamily, commercial, the circle just gets smaller. The more zeros you add to a number,
Right.
the circle gets that much smaller. So everyone winds up knowing you. And anybody that's working in real estate right now, you kind of you don't necessarily know everyone, but you know this group, that group, the people that are making the moves.
You kind of know of them.
Yeah, you know of them. And it just gets smaller as you move up. You wind up knowing these people. So if you're not developing those relationships along the way,
Yeah.
you're leaving money on the table.
And the team building and the relationships, you'll find that, you might want to bring somebody into your team, but then there may be some friction or something doesn't go right. And maybe at some point you decided that maybe you don't want them on your team anymore.
Right.
Or maybe somebody decided they don't want us on their team or
That's
me
right.
on their team. That's great. That's all fine.
Mhm. And it doesn't mean that the relationship is damaged.
Right.
It's just there's a fork in the road. We'll find another way to do business sometime down the line. I got a
Perhaps.
telephone call, if I can just throw this in.
Yeah.
I got a telephone call from an agent that I've worked with in the past. And she lives across the street from me as well.
Mm.
And I'm always telling her, hey, because she has this investment group. Hey, we got to get together. Let me talk to your group. They've invited me. Just haven't inked the date. But she calls me up. She sends me a text message and says, hey, listen, I got this great property. I'd like to partner with you guys. And I already know she does great work. She knows how to recognize the deals.
Right.
I mean, she's a realtor, but she absolutely knows how to recognize deals, right?
Okay.
So she said, hey, here's a great deal. I know that I can get this for X number of dollars. I also know that I'm going to need a little bit of help in one of these 2 or 3 different ways. One of those ways is the design.
Okay.
The design factor. She wants help with the design factor, right? So she's like, I know you guys do this because I've gotten your marketing material.
Right.
All right.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen the work you do. I've seen the stuff you guys have put on out there for sale. And I'd really love to partner with you. I mean, this is out of the blue. It's like money from heaven, you know? I mean, it literally someone called and said, look, I'd like to give you a check. That's what happened this morning.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of things that happen once you've developed relationships.
That's right.
And it's the only way they happen. When you need a favor sometimes. You know, if we need Scott to go and look at something for us because we can't get there,
Yes.
he's going to do it before we stroke him a check because, we've developed a relationship with him.
Well, I want to diverge a little bit onto what you're talking about because you're talking about abundance.
Absolutely.
And you talked about it a little bit earlier in the previous show, I think. And abundance comes not from out there; it comes from in here.
Yes.
So if you're fearful of losing money, then the chances are you're going to lose your money.
Right.
But if you're in an abundance vibrational tone where you believe that the universe just delivers everything to you, and your expectation is that money will just show up. Because every now and then, I'm looking at the account and I think, I could use a little extra cash. And sometimes there's extra cash in the account.
Yeah.
So, there's that vibrational tone of a lot of extra cash, right? So if I'm ever looking at it and I see, okay, maybe I need some more, then I just say, okay, I wonder how the universe is going to deliver me my next, $50,000 or $30,000 or whatever the number is. And then I just let that go, I'm not going to worry about, money being there or not being there.
Because that's keeping it away from you.
Exactly. It's just keeping it away because I'm pushing it away.
Yeah. So a man thinketh.
Totally.
So a man
Completely.
thinketh. If you listen, your success weighs so heavily on your thinking, on your mindset. It's not just you being able to do a thing really, really well. I mean, how many artists do we know of that are fantastic at what they do? They just don't get the shot. Why? Right? How many chefs are there that are fantastic, but they just don't get the shot?
How many people work really hard all day long and then don't make very much money?
Exactly. They don't.
How many people hardly work and make a ton of money?
Right.
There's plenty of evidence to support this thing that you call wow, this is really real.
It's a real thing.
Yes.
There's people that are fantastic at what they do, and I'm not saying that everyone that makes it is a good person, right? What I am saying is they all do have one thing in common, and that's the way they think about how they move towards what they want.
They're all really good.
Well, absolutely. There's all good. There's really no bad.
That's right.
Right? There's really no bad.
Yes.
There isn't. There's just your perception of whatever's happening to you at any given moment.
And then you manifested your realtor from across the street. So
That's right.
What happened?
We're going to go look at a couple. She's actually sent another property.
Oh, another one.
Another one. So in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I mean, this just benefits all of us. A lot of people talk bad about partnerships. A lot of people talk bad about just working in certain ways with other people. Now, we've had a lot of success with that, but in the beginning, it was a little bit difficult. We've had to determine how we were going to do business with other people and then lay that down on paper.
Yeah.
So that everybody understands their role in this particular project. And that hasn't, we haven't had any issues with that. And that is, of course, a totally different segment, in terms of working with partners and things of those natures. But we've kind of perfected that, I think, at this point. And we know what we don't want to do.
Usually.
We know what we want to do and how we want to do it. And we're always open to negotiating various terms of these partnerships that we wind up being in. But if you can't keep your mind focused on what it is you want to do and where it is you want to go without worry, you can't worry about this not being signed now and that. I mean, it just you damage relationships.
Yeah.
You push people away. You never get what you're complaining about. And by the time you do get it, it's out the door that fast, if you do get it, because of what you've put in there. You have to put yourself in a different mental space to be successful, and not just real estate, but in life in general.
Well, I heard a story. I was actually utilizing some of these, new tools like YouTube and Google. And
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
No, I've heard about this a long time ago, but so I was watching one of these YouTube videos, and this guy asked a question. He says, "Well, why is it that people have to lose everything before they start making more money?" And it's because they lose the first thing. Maybe it's the boat or a car or something, or some money or something. And so all of a sudden now they start worrying about it, and that worry causes them to lose everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get to the point where they don't have anything, they stop worrying.
Yeah, because because the only thing to do now is come back up.
That's
right. So the focus then stays there, and what people wind up doing, and you hear this a lot in the real estate and finance community.
Yeah.
Coming out of that recession is what they like to call it.
Right.
Right. You've heard of people losing it all. I mean, they lost their families, they lost their houses, they lost their this, they lost their that, and then they had to come back up, and they're 10 times stronger than they were before. And every aspect of their life is now different because they're thinking differently.
Right.
No longer are they, most of them are not going after things solely to have stuff. There's a purpose behind it all now. There's a purpose behind the relationships that they build.
Right.
Whether they're personal or business, there's a different purpose there. And it forces you to think differently. All you have to do is remember. Remember the pain.
If you really dig deep, you'll start to realize the relationship between thought, feelings, and matter.
Yeah.
Circumstances don't matter, but state of being matters. Circumstances don't create matter because they are matter. They're already done. It's over with. But your state of being does create matter. It creates your reality.
That's right. And what we're talking about here, everybody, truly is mindset. We can sit here and give you every possible scenario that will allow you to become a gazillionaire in real estate in the next 30 days. No, but over time, yes. But if your mind isn't right, none of this matters.
That's right.
None of it matters. So, read some good books. Put positive things into you. Get yourself a mentor, whether it's a physical mentor or a virtual mentor. Virtual mentors being people that you can go listen to Tony Robbins on YouTube.
Where would you find a mentor, like the Yellow Pages or something?
Yes.
Is that under M for mentor?
Your mentors can be found in anywhere. It's just someone that you can get information from.
Okay.
Processes from. Whether you're paying them or not, it doesn't really matter. You just have to make sure that you've got someone on your side that can give you the information that's necessary for you to succeed and keep you in the mental space, or at least put you in the mental space that you need to be at to find success, maintain success, and grow in success. Read Napoleon Hill. There's a host of other things that you can read, but like I said, as a man thinketh, you need to put yourself there in order to have and maintain and grow success.
Yes, it's all about the mind.
That's right. So, Steve,
we want to thank you for listening and watching the Real Estate 360 show. Steve Connolly
and Jason Miles,
taking you from the show to the pro.
Thank you for your day.